Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Matt Moy, Vincent Arroyo Family Winery's winemaker, and we're here at our Grant Street Ranch, which is located in Calistoga, about a mile from the winery. It is about 40 acres that Vince and Marjorie bought back in 1978. The former owner was Kubasan Winery, and so they had a lot of different varietals growing on the ranch when Vince took over. Today we are growing Petite Syrah, Cabernet, Merlot, Malbec, Petit Verdot, and a tiny bit of Chardonnay. We're going to taste some of the wines that are made from these grapes. We like to call this ranch our blender ranch because oftentimes most of those grapes are blended with other vineyards to give it different characters that we're looking for in our wines. So today I brought with me our Merlot, our Nameless blend. I brought our standard Petite Syrah and our standard Cab. This ranch, like I say, is 40 acres. We use frost protection with water on this ranch. So you see the reservoir behind me. That the way that system works is that when it hits about 32 degrees, we turn on the sprinklers. They're overhead sprinklers throughout the vineyards, and we let them go until it starts to warm back up. What basically it does is the water freezes onto the vine and keeps it at a constant 32 degrees. So it actually protects the vine. It insulates those vines as you continue to put more and more water on them. Once it starts to warm back up, the ice starts to melt a little bit, and we can turn those sprinklers off, and it does a good job of protecting during frost season. This is an alternative to the frost protection that we did on the Greenwood Ranch that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Today, like I say, we'll go and taste some of those wines. I'm going to go over to our Merlot patch and talk about the Merlot and let you know how that wine's tasting. Okay, so we're over here at the Merlot on the Grant Street Ranch. As you can see, this vineyard here has yet to be suckered, so it's very full in foliage. We had a huge heat wave here in Calistoga this week, 3 days over 100, and I think it's kind of strange because we're actually going to be going into some rain weather this weekend. So it's just been a weird year for California weather, as I'm sure it is out there in the rest of the United States. But we're here in the Merlot, so we're still going through flower. Let's see if we can see some of the flower there. So there's the flowering grapes. We'll hopefully have set, which will mean that the grapes will be starting to grow in the next couple weeks. With our Merlot, it's a very big Merlot. We use French oak in the aging of it. Merlot is one of the 5 Bordeaux grapes that I talked about last week, coming from France. I think we make a fantastic Merlot. Merlot has gotten a bad rap over the last few years. There's been, in the early 90s is when Merlot started coming out as a straight varietal. Before that, it was basically used in blends. You wouldn't see it here in California other than in some kind of blend. And in the early 90s, wineries like Duckhorn came out with a fantastic Merlot, and people went crazy for it. And so what happened was people started planting Merlot in places it should never have been. And some people tasted Merlot from places that it shouldn't have been and tasted not very good. And so they poo-pooed Merlot. Well, fortunately, and of course there was the Sideways movie that helped hurt that grape a little bit more. But we're seeing a comeback in Merlot in Napa. It's not as big as Cabernet, but I think that Napa is a great place to grow Merlot. I like our Merlot because it's a big Merlot. It's not a wimpy Merlot. And we blend it, I guess, with the Greenwood Ranch Merlot. So it's 100% Merlot, aged in French oak. Let's go and taste some of this here. So what I'm tasting here is the 2017 Merlot. We did 10 barrels, so small production. Some of the Merlot that we grow here goes into the Nameless blend. It has sometimes gone into the Bodega blend. This was 13.3% alcohol, so perfect for food. So let's see. Very balanced, has some good acidity. You can feel it on the sides and mouth, and actually good front mouth appeal. I get maybe dark fruit, maybe a little bit of plum. You smell the French oak on it. It's tasting pretty good. I think a lot of people come into the winery and say, oh, Merlot, I'll pass. And I almost treat it as a challenge, because I think if they try our Merlot, it's a different experience with Merlot, and it's what Merlot should be. So hopefully if you guys are out there drinking our wines and you have some Merlot in your cellar, enjoy it, spread the word, tell people that, hey, Merlot is a great wine. You just have to find it in the right spots. So we're gonna go next down to the one of the cab vineyards or cab blocks, and we'll maybe try some Nameless there. But enjoy the Merlot. Cheers. Okay, so here we are at our Oliver's Cabernet. Oliver happens to be my youngest son, and Vince planted this when he was born in 2014. So it's a younger vineyard for us, 6 years old, so it's just coming into production in terms of yields. Usually it takes about 3 years before you see your first full yield of fruit from that particular grape. So and usually your best productions are going into the 10 to 15 year range. So it's getting better and better each and every year. Right now, the Oliver's Cabernet is going into the Nameless blend. Nameless, for those of you that know, we love to name our wines after our animals. Nameless was our cat, and we unfortunately lost her this past March. So this upcoming vintage of 2018 will be the last of the Nameless blend. We have the 2017 that I'm going to taste today. That happens to be a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, which is Oliver's Cab behind me, and some Merlot, which probably came from the block that we were just at. You can see behind me there's all these leaves on the ground. I just passed our vineyard crews. They're in this block right now suckering. So you can see all those leaves they're pulling off and exposing the fruit to the sun. So you want to make sure that you get good airflow in here, that we don't have a mildew issue, and so that's what they're doing for us right now. You got to be a little bit careful, because you want to be able to protect the fruit when it comes down to summer. So you want to make sure when you're pulling any kind of leaves or things like that, you want to make sure that the afternoon sun has shade on those grapes, so that you don't burn them when they're going through their veraison, usually in July, which is when it's the warmest. But let's taste some of the Nameless. Nameless lived to be, I believe, 18 years old. So she lived a good life at the winery, and we miss her. But like all animals, we usually find a new one that comes and finds us at the winery. And I'm sure we'll have another blend of the cat wine soon. But let's taste the 2017. So this one here, 2017 Nameless, is kind of a teaser because it is all sold out. You can't buy the current vintage, but we do have our library open. It's still open, and I believe there's several vintages of Nameless in there. Nameless used to also have Cabernet Franc in it, so we unfortunately lost that block of Cabernet Franc, so we don't have Cabernet Franc growing on the estate anymore. So we've gone down to this blend being a Cab Merlot. This happens to be 50-50, so it's an even split. So let's see how it's doing. Pardon my sweating here. It's already getting close to 90 degrees, and it's still early, so we'll see how today goes. But this is the 2017 Nameless. Very good, very good. I think this one is going to be much better in a couple more years, because I think it's really tight with tannin right now. I think it'll soften up. Give it 2-3 more years, and I think this is going to be a phenomenal wine. I think that balance of 50-50 Merlot, the Merlot doesn't get drowned out, which I would have thought, typically Merlot being a little bit lighter than Cab, you wouldn't maybe see it as much, but I think it's holding its own. I think with that Cab, it really gives it a good mouthfeel to it. Yeah, this is going to be a good wine. Hopefully you enjoy this at home. Back at the winery, everyone is being safe and working to get things opened up. We haven't been told when that might be, but we're hoping in the next week or two. We're just still getting things in order in terms of making sure everything is safe and clean. We hope the county of Napa is looking to possibly open up in the next week or two. So we'll keep you posted on that. I do want to do a video of our grounds and make sure you see how safe it is going to be for you when you come to visit us in the hope not too far future. And but yeah, everyone is doing well. The boys have their last week of school this week, so Adrian is pretty excited about that, and we'll see what summer brings. But it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So I'm going to go over to our cab vineyard, another cab vineyard, to showcase our regular cab. Here we are at our cab block. We call this the quad cab. The reason being is this is a different trellis system than all of our other vineyards. We don't have anything but this particular block on this, what we call quadrilateral. So if you look over here, hopefully you can see it on the camera. There are 4 arms on this particular vine. So you can see there's the coming up. They have two arms going one way and 2 arms going the other way. The reason we farm this way is that this particular ground is very fertile, and these vines can be very vigorous. So we want to put out more fruit that way. So we're able to do that with the quad format. So it's still farmed like the cordons on the other vineyards, but it has 4 arms versus 2. The regular cab that we produce, unfortunately, the 2017, which we'll drink today, is actually the last of the regular cab that we will be producing, due to the fact that we have the Rattlesnake Cabernet that came on board a couple years ago. So a lot of these grapes that we have in here will go into some of our blends, but right now the wine that we're going to taste, the 17 cab, regular cab, a lot of it came out of this particular vineyard. We have about 10 different blocks of Cabernet on the 80 acres that we farm. Cabernet probably is our most prevalent, about neck and neck with the Petit Syrah. But we use cab for a lot of different things. Petit Syrah is always just Petit Syrah, and a little bit of Entrada. But with our cab, we have all our blends like Melange, Nameless that we just tried, Bodega. So they have cab elements to it. So we pull from a lot of the cab vineyards. They're not single vineyards, but they get put into our blends. So the Cabernet that we're going to taste right now, the 17, is probably a blend of 4 or 5 different cabs. I don't know the percentages of this particular one in the 17, but it's 13.8 alcohol. So again, good alcohol for food. 15 barrels produced. So not a lot of this, well, and this is going to be the last vintage. So if you have some of it in your cellar, hold on to it, because I think this is going to age pretty well. Oh, I smell chocolate. Yes, it's definitely a good chocolate pairing cab. This is the varietal that's most planted in the Napa Valley. It used to be more varieties here, but it's become king. And it's a great wine, and Napa Valley does a great job with it. Fortunately for us, we can grow a lot of different things, so we do try other varietals. But I hope you guys are enjoying your cab at home. If you guys need some more, our library again is open. I think we have several vintages of the older cabs still available online, or give the winery a call. But cheers to cab, and one more wine to taste on the Grant Street Ranch, and that'll be our standard Petit Syrah. Cheers. Okay, the last wine we're going to taste today is out of our standard Petit Syrah. So I thought, well, let's go with the tried and true as our last wine of this series. The Petit Syrah estate is a blend of different vineyards. This happens to be the GS5 block of the components in that blend. We have about, I think, 5 or 6 Petit Syrahs that get blended together for this particular wine that we're going to try. Petit Syrah is our flagship, as most of you know. It's a very big, bold wine. You can see the leaves over here. We're talking about leaves in a couple episodes. Very big, very, very, very big. So Petit Syrah is usually easy to identify, especially once the clusters start to form, because they're very tight. Like I said in earlier episodes, the Petit Syrah is very prone to rot if it gets wet, because it's so tightly bound. If water gets in them after they've been set together, they can't dry out, so they'll rot from the inside out. So we hope to get our Petit Syrah off the vine before the early rains of winter. And the last couple of years, we've been fortunate that we haven't had that issue. But again, we always, when we see threats of rain in October, we're nervous about our pets, or what we call our pets, the Petit Syrah. This is the GS5 block. I'm in the shade right now, which is a little better than in the sun. But this is probably about 6 acres, maybe 5 acres of Petit Syrah. It's a gangbuster in terms of yield. I think we get maybe 15 tons out of here, almost 20 sometimes. So it can put out a lot of fruit. But we're going to taste our Petit Syrah now. This is one of the 4, so this is the standard estate, the one that we started with from the very beginning. It's going to be the 2017 vintage, you see here, and it's going to be 13.7 alcohol. We did about 35 barrels. With Petit Syrah, we use American oak, so it's a little bit more of that flavor profile. American oak tends to really do well, with Petit Syrah because it has a high tannin content in the wood. So when you have our Petit Syrah, which has high tannin, they work really well to balance each other out. So this is going to be the 2017 Estate Petit Syrah. So you can smell the American oak for sure. I mean, that's the first smell you get off it. Fairly tannic. I think we made this definitely to age. I think probably 5 to 7 years is going to be a good one for this one. This is probably what we sell the most out of the winery. So I think a lot of times when you say Vincent Arroyo, the next word is Petit Syrah. So that's kind of what he started with when he first came here in the early 70s, and we maintain that, and we actually are putting a little bit more in, as you saw on the Rattlesnake Ranch, so more of that to come. But we've had a good time with you guys on these virtual tours. I know it's weird for us, we're not techie people, so it's kind of strange world, but we're adapting just like everyone else is at home. And like I say, hopefully our tasting rooms will be opening soon. One more thing about this ranch, I almost forgot. If you have a standing order with us, we do a lottery with our standing order customers, and we pull names, and that's going to happen, I think, in the next couple weeks. And what will happen is we pull 40 names that have a standing order with us, and we invite them to come out here to the Grant Street Ranch and pick grapes. We pick 4 rows. We call it Amigos Alley. That's actually Amigos de Arroyo is the name of the event. We pick 4 rows. We usually get about a couple tons of fruit. We bring it back to the winery. We have people hop on in the bins and stomp on them with their feet. We bottle wine that day for the Amigos that were here 2 years prior. And then in 2 years after the people who are here, they will get wine made with their name as the winemaker on the label. Unfortunately, I should have brought the labels out with me, but it's pretty cool. You get to be a part of the process. You get to see how we do things. We don't really crush them with our feet anymore, but it's a lot of fun. We have our friend Gerard come out and make great paella for you. So it's a fun perk as being a member of the Standing Order Club to come out and enjoy some good wine. It's usually mid-October when that event happens. So if you're lucky enough to get drawn, I definitely think it's a good experience to come out and see how it's all done. But those who don't get picked, you're still open to come and visit us during harvest. We take you back and show you what's going on. It's going to probably be a little bit more different this year because of what we're going through, but we're going to see what we can do and what's safe for people to see and whatnot. But at any rate, I appreciate you guys watching these episodes. We are going to try to do some more. I don't know what content they're going to be, but we'll let you know. And as soon as our doors are open, you will know about it. So appreciate it. You guys stay safe out there and enjoy good wine. Cheers.